In Bangladesh, hundreds of thousands of people gathered for the funeral of Sharif Osman Hadi. The prominent activist was shot in Dhaka earlier this month. News that he later died of those gunshot wounds sparked fresh unrest across the capital late Thursday, putting further pressure on an interim government already under fire for failing to restore stability since it took office in August 2024.
In the heart of Dhaka, a sea of mourners stands shoulder to shoulder, united in sorrow as they pay their last respects to Sharif Osman Hadi. Still reeling from his assassination, they remain determined to keep his legacy alive.
We came here carrying his words and the work he devoted his life to in our hearts and in our minds. We're pledged to do everything in our power to finish the mission Brother Hadi left behind. We'll defend our country with our lives and whatever blood it may require.
Hadi was a key figure in the uprising that toppled the government last year. He had recently announced plans to run for parliament. But he was shot by masked gunmen while leaving a mosque in Dhaka and died of his injuries days later while being treated in Singapore. Hadi's death sparked widespread unrest, with protesters demanding the arrest of those responsible. Soon after the news broke, crowds set fire to several buildings in Dhaka, including the offices of two major newspapers. Critics accuse those publications of favouring neighbouring India, where former Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina has taken refuge since he was ousted in the 2024 uprising that Hadi helped bring about. Ties between Bangladesh and India have worsened since, with Dhaka demanding that New Delhi extradite Hasina. Protesters believe Hadi's killers have fled to India and have vowed to keep the movement alive.
The attack on Hadi is not an attack on him alone. It strikes at the spirit of the uprising and at our political solidarity. Our shared commitment means we must stand with Hadi.
The UN has condemned Hadi's killing and also called on authorities to ensure accountability.
And for more on this, let's bring in DW's Binish Javed, who is joining me here in the studio. Binish, good to have you here with us. We've just seen in this report this outpour of grief. Why is that?
Monica, it definitely shows that Mr. Hadi had a huge following, cultural following, people from middle class, low middle class, connected with him, connected with his views. What we know that he was he was a fiery speaker. He had very strong opinions on what the future of Bangladesh should be. He was critical of former ousted Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina's Awami League party. He was also critical of India because Sheikh Hasina is being sheltered in India. So his views, it definitely seems that they resonated with many people in Bangladesh. And many people who didn't know him have started getting to know him well, because what we see on Bangladeshi social media, many of his videos, his previous videos are being reshared, are resurfacing, and they're getting millions of views. So it definitely seems that his killing has had a chilling effect in Bangladesh.
And how will it affect the already, not very warm relations with India? You just mentioned that India is basically sheltering the former Prime Minister of Bangladesh, and protesters are actually having to say something about that.
Yes. So what we know is that Bangladeshi authorities summoned Indian High Commissioner in Dhaka and asked for help in finding suspects involved in Hadi's killing. Now, there are accusations that these suspects, after attacking Hadi, they fled to India. Now, India denies any involvement or accusations that India is sheltering the suspects. What we know that Indian authorities also summoned Bangladeshi High Commissioner in New Delhi, and a press release by Indian Foreign Ministry says that India completely rejects the false narratives sought to be created by extremist elements. But on the ground, what we see in Bangladesh, there is a growing anti-India sentiment. And it stems from the very fact that many people in Bangladesh see Sheikh Hasina and other members of Awami League who they accuse are also in India. Many see them as convicted fugitive, and they say that they have credible evidence that these people were involved or they were behind the hundreds of people who were killed in last year's uprising. Now that very thing has become a major foreign policy challenge both for Bangladesh and for India. India, of course, had a long-term relationship with Awami League, with Sheikh Hasina. She's in that country. Indian officials, if you listen to their statements, it seems that they don't trust the judicial system in Bangladesh and will not just hand over Sheikh Hasina back to Bangladesh. So this is a major source of friction. And on top of that, when this incident happens and when protesters are accusing that the assailants fled to India, it further complicates the relationship.
And it also doesn't help the interim government. There's certainly some instability.
Yes.
What are the chances of those February elections actually going underway?
So the interim government definitely faces major security challenges. This incident of Hadi's killing definitely became like an international news. It was picked by international media, but their small incidents have been happening for over months. There's a local human rights group, for example, N.O. Salish Kendra, says that mob violence has killed at least 184 people in Bangladesh just this year. And then there have also been incidents of extrajudicial killings and also disappearances. Now, this means that now the critics say, or some observers in Bangladesh say, that there are remnants of the former administration that are still operative in the security forces or in the police, or there are some officials who are sympathetic to the former government, and that has been a major challenge for the interim government to really deliver on the law and order situation. And unless something...
Can they?
That is a major challenge, because if there is disruption, if there is violence, it means that people will be discouraged to come out and vote. And on top of that, we also have to see that Awami League has been barred from running elections. They have been banned as a political party, and that is also causing a lot of friction and also incidents of violence. Some of the incidents of violence, other political parties have blamed Awami League of being behind them. So it seems it's a complex political situation, and unless there is high investment and high efforts to ensure there is security, I do see some political violence happening, and political parties also have to play an important role. Sometimes they want to show their political muscle in such an environment, which obviously can encourage incidents of violence. And therefore, not only the security establishment, but also the political establishment of the country has to make sure that that political violence is discouraged.
All right. Well, a complex situation indeed, but thank you so very much, Binesh Javed, for shedding some light on the situation for us. Thank you so much.